Hello everybody, Brian Salter here, and I thought I'd show you something to do with these valve seals. This particular setup, I'm going to be using Teflon seals. Sometimes you just do what you got to do because, I don't know, didn't want to wait for the metal jackets. These are great seals. You just got to be careful putting them on. And I've seen some of you comment in the past that the Teflon seals wear out the valve. Yeah, I have never experienced that, y'all. So, yeah, I've been doing this a very long time. Never seen these seals wear a valve out. So, I don't know, maybe something else was going on. You can buy the wrong seal. Maybe you had something too tight. But anyways, the problem with these is they are not very flexible because they are PTFE. And they don't want to go. So a lot of times people will tear them when they install them or try to install them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a really easy trick that I learned many moons ago. And that is I get a pair of needle nose pliers. And these are just an old pair I keep around. And I will just kind of stretch them out. Now generally I will put these against something so in case they go flying across the shop. So let me get that situated. Alright, so I'm just going to use the head to keep the seal from flying, somewhere and losing it. It generally doesn't try to, but it's just a safety precaution. And what I'm going to do, let me zoom in on this right here. I know I got this one guy that hates it when I zoom in. How are you going to see it if I don't zoom in? Anyways, what I'm going to do is open this up, and you can see that metal band expand. You see that band moving? I'm just opening it up a little bit, and I rotate it 90. Open it up a little bit, and I'll rotate it again. And it just kind of, gets the rigor mortis out of it. And it will pop right on the valve, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Alright, so I just put my valve back in the hole and make sure I'm on the right one. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to take it. Everybody see that? Can you see that? You can't see that. What in the world? There you are. Well, anyways, it slid right on the valve stem. Sorry about that. And now it's ready. Now, before you install these seals, do yourself a favor. If there's any kind of shimming you're going to do, right, make sure you got your shims on before you go putting on your valve seals. So basically, right, I got my shim there, I got my seals on before I install my valve seal, okay? I'm going to dump all that in the floor. Alright, so if you're wondering why I'm not showing a bigger view, it's because I'm being secretive. Okay, I'm being secretive. I got things in here I don't want people to see. And yeah, I'm a secret dude. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. That's just a little trick that might help you next time you use Teflon seals. Well, one more thing, might as well finish the job, right? So how do you get them on the guide? Okay, what I do is I roll my head once I get them on, and I'll put me a little shot of oil right here. Right across here, I'll let it run on the base of the seal and on the guide itself. And then I get me a socket. This particular one is a 1/2" drive socket. And I put it on top there and I gently push down with my hand. Look at there. Isn't that easy? Yes, it is. Watch this. I'll do it from this way so you can see. No tears, no ifs, ands, or buts. It is on correctly, and I ain't got to worry about it leaking. I didn't rip it. I didn't beat it with the hammer, anything like that. So these things are great. You just got to know how to deal with them. That's all. Anyway, I thought that might help you out in your endeavor to build a better engine. Have a good day. Alright, so yet again, I thought I'd show you the whole process while we're at it. So in this particular setup, I'm using comp cams, 10-degree titanium retainers. They're 10-degree locks. And these are Ferrera, the best valves they make. I have custom cuts on these. I spent a lot of time on the lathe, guys, before I had these valves made. I tried every valve, I don't know, configuration imaginable. I cut radiuses, I cut angles, all kinds. I cut sizes. I tried to cheat the airflow. And I came up with something that worked really well. And so here it is, but I'm not showing it to you because it's my secret. Anyways, I'm using PSI spring. I think PSI is the best spring on the planet. So we'll be using those. And like I said, the comp 10-degree locks. Now I'm setting these here will be set up at 2 inches and 50 thousandths. And what I want you to have when you go to do this is make your job easy. I got my little paintbrush here and some assembly gel that mixes with oil. It just completely dissolves in motor oil. That's important, y'all. Whenever you use assembly grease or lube, you need to read the instructions and make sure that assembly lube dissolves in engine oil, because if it don't, it floats around like a freaking clogged artery and you don't want that. So I'm going to have that right here, and what I'll do is, these springs are pretty stout, so we're going to use my handy dandy squeezer here. Now when you use one of these, be extra careful not to hit the back of the cylinder head and cause damage to the deck or the combustion chamber. So I'm going to go, for the video especially, I'm going to go nice and slow here. I'm tightening this up. It's basically like a giant C-clamp, but it can handle, you know, hundreds of pounds of spring pressure. This spring is well over 700 pounds. Or it can be. I'm not actually going to set it up that stiff. Okay, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is take this, I'm going to walk this over here, so hopefully I can look in the camera and see what you see. There's my stuff there, and here's that. I'm going to put it right there inside the lock. Okay? And let's see if I can... Oh, my camera's... I got a not so great phone. It's zoomed out. What I'm going to go ahead and put this in the groove of the valve. And I'm trying to stay out of the camera so it's awkward for me. I have a little Chevy dipstick tube, guys, that makes this job so easy. Oh, I didn't crank it back enough. Well, that might help. Hang on one moment. There we go. Yeah, it makes it easy when you crank it back like you're supposed to. Okay, so that's in there. Now I just take the lock and I can rotate it around the bottom. It's not going to fall out because of the lubricant I put on it. So then I just repeat the process. Put me a little stickum right there. And put that in there. It's in there, but I'm just making sure I'm pushing on the bottom. There we go. Nice. Now, when you go to back these off, again, it's the retainer. The retainer needs to be in a place where it's not going to hit the lock as it comes off. So it needs to be centered like that, okay? So just pay attention to that when you go to unscrew it. So I'm looking here, and it looks like I need to pull it over just a hair. There we go. And it's released, and I'm going to be careful not to bang up my cylinder head. And you say, man, that takes forever. It takes a little bit. However, it is a critical job. Imagine you're turning high RPMs, and this valve falls down in the hole. You know, I don't know about you, but I just have a feeling that would be a bad day for someone. Really bad day for somebody. So we want to take our time. And of course, when I'm done, I'm going to set these with a hammer and all that to make sure the locks are seated in the retainer and nothing's going to fly off. And this engine right here is about $35,000. So I don't want any problems, any mistakes. Alright, anyways, I think I went through the whole basic process. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I promise I won't start this video again. Alright, have a good day.